finals. Here comes that die roll. A 8 or it's a 7?
A 7.
A 12 from LeBlanc.
That's a lot, man.
And a handshake again. And Chris will start things off. He said that was important for him.
And we have a Fenrir starter, another Fenrir, and a Sullick?
That's what it looks like.
I believe the other card is Nimble Beaver as well.
Standby.
So a very
Main
Spright hand, I'd have to say.
Yeah, not a lot of tier in there except for that Sullick. But if you can find a way to send the Sullick to the graveyard via a card effect, maybe you can add a tier limit monster and get something going. But he's going to start off with that Kastira Fenrir out of Darkwing Blast. Since he controls no monsters, he can special summon this level 7 monster to the field. And on its summon, he will be able to add another Kastira monster, including itself. So he grabs another copy of Kastira Fenrir to the hand.
So, you know, we mentioned that this is a very full Spright hand. But with the addition of Spright Sprint, what he's able to set up here is he's able to actually set up Sprint and Elf. And you're able to set up the Merly in the graveyard to bring back with the Elf and then have that Sullick live. So that Sullick is not necessarily a dead card, assuming that Chris is able to resolve everything. Yeah,
Spright Sprint from Darkwing Blast really bridged the gap between these two decks. They already kind of work together, but now they work even better together, as you just mentioned. So Nimble Beaver's going to be normal summon, do special summon Nimble Angler from the deck. And now he's going to link those two monsters to summon Spright Sprint, as you mentioned.
Chain 2.
Look, there is the Dimensional Shifter.
Chain link to Dimension Shifter. So the Spright Sprint, whatever he sends will be banished.
Yeah, a very sad sure from Chris here. You wonder, like, there was technically no room to be sure that the Dimensional Shifter had been. It's not something you necessarily shotgun immediately. No cards really needed to go to the grave yet. It doesn't matter if the Nimble monsters are in the grave, but this is going to be a really strong cutoff. And we do see the tech card that we mentioned in the last round, Nightmare Corruptor Ibly.
Yeah, going to get that out of the deck. Locking your opponent out of, special summon monsters against Flundereeze, not really fantastic.
Yeah, one of those hot tech picks that I think was a big reason of why he made it to the finals. Not a lot of people respected it. An easy way to respect that card is just have a copy of Lingeribo in your extra deck, immediately be able to link it off, but not really something you see a lot of, and it probably was really effective against his tier mirror matches up to this point.
Certainly. Now we see Spright starter, going to special summon Spright Blue from the deck. So he's going to take that damage take damage equal to the attack of Spright Blue, and then Spright Blue will add another Spright monster from his deck to his hand.
I think he's really heavily considering just grabbing a copy of Red, but he looks like he's just going to grab Jet. Jet might just get started for Red, or he may want to go for Smashers if he had another card in his hand that with the Spright name that he could use.
Yep, certainly. Since he controls his level 2 monster, or Link 2 monster, to be able to special summon all these Spright monsters from the hand. Jet grabbing, it looks like Spright Smashers.
Yeah, that's going to be a really difficult card to activate because there are no Spright cards in the graveyard. He'd have to use them from the hand. Currently not live at all because of the Dimensional Shifter. Hopefully that's not something Chris is overlooking.
We'll have to wait and see.
Right now, the only active interruptions is that Fenrir. Might not be enough against the Floowandereze strategy, not like because of the way the field interacts, not going to be able to do too much. But we are able to go into a 3200 Gigantic Spright, able to use its effect, likely get out, I want to say Spright Red. I think that's the most important card to go for here. And just really hope that Michael doesn't have access to the map.
So Gigantic Spright is going to detach the Spright Jet. Special summoning, I think you might be right.
Ideally, you have a copy of Spright Red as well as Spright Carrot in this situation. You're able to cut off the map, you're able to cut off the normal summon. Hopefully there's no way for them to establish any birds in the banish zone. So that's usually where Advent comes in. It's really hard to play around map, Advent, as well as a normal summon. But being able to cut off map and normal summon is really where you want to be against the Floowandereze strategy. It is so extremely linear, so just cutting those bodies off is the key to stopping the strategy.
So he's going to link away those monsters into a Spright Elf.
Yeah, he's able to use the effect because he was able to at least put some monsters in the graveyard before the shifter was activated.
Effect. Resolve.
See if he brings back the Angler or the Beaver. Looks like he's going to bring back Nimble Angler.
It seems like a fine choice here. I'm honestly kind of surprised he didn't want to just leave up the Gigantic Spright because this is not more bodies, right? This is not really doing much more than what had been established prior.
Cover turn?
Yep. And he's going to set 2 cards face down and pass to Michael. And now Michael will see how good of a Flundereeze hand he has. Having the shifters already step one, but does he have map or way to get to map plus Robina or Eaglin?
He does. He's holding his hand close to his chest. I saw a pot of duality. There it is. Evenly matched in the main deck, terraforming as well as Robina. That's every choice you could possibly want.
Do you need a board breaker? Do you need a starter? Do you need the other kind of starter? Really a fantastic pot of duality here from Temez.
It looks like he has mostly spells and traps in his hand. It looks like I think I see an Advent. Let's see if he can get away with just taking the evenly matched and cleaning up the field here.
May I read?
Going ahead and reading the Fenrir, he wants to be as aware of every face-up effect that you can, making sure you're not missing anything here. Unfortunately, Chris, seeing all 3 copies of Fenrir this early, obviously one grabbed off the other Fenrir, but not really the way you want to see that card.
You don't have Robina yet, I can tell, that's for sure.
Correct.
All right.
That's the struggle we in right now.
Yeah, because it's not an obvious pick to take the evenly, Chris is fairly certain that Robina is a card that Michael really wants here.
Yeah, there's little bits of information you can kind of get from the duration your opponent thinks about certain decisions.
Yeah, it looks like Michael's hand has a Dreaming Town and then only spells after that. So
forced to grab Robina.
Yeah, this is strong for Chris here. Not immediately out of the game from seeing something like evenly matched resolve after the shifter. It looks like multiple dualities, in fact.
Resolution?
On resolution, I will activate.
He's going to use Elf just to put more bodies on the field.
That brings back Nimble Beaver.
Anything else? Spells and traps?
Ooh. Going after the spells and traps, still under the dimensional shifter, so the Sulic will not get any additional value here. The Smashers was not going to get any value, but I think this is where just being able to grab the starter, he would have been able to end on red and carrot. I think that's would have been a much stronger play.
No, not at all.
Oh my goodness.
You know what I was playing?
Oh yeah, it's because someone told me that I was playing against Flunder.
I mean, he activated Dimension Shifter. Pretty indicates that Flundereeze is going to be there.
He does have the map along with the Robina, so this is likely all going to resolve. It depends on if Michael has any additional names in it. We know he doesn't because we didn't see any. So this red can actually take him all the way. He's going to be able to normal summon the Robina, add back the Eaglin, and then he's going to have to, Michael's going to have to make a move here. He's going to have to add a different normal summon off the Robina and summon that one first. Hope that is going to base the red.
When it's banished,
because if the red is ever used on the Eaglin, that's going to cut Michael off entirely.
From the banish pile.
When he can't protect it from the chain links, yep.
So we'll see if Chris takes the bait, or if Michael even goes that play.
The chains.
Eaglin goes to hand, chain link 2, Robina resolves. Let's see what he's going to add. Does he add the barrier statue? Does he add a different name? Maybe a toucan or a stree?
Any wing beast is on the menu.
Not any wing beast per se, but you know, level 4 or lower, we can accept those. Michael really checking his hand there, see what his options he has available. One of them is Eaglin, one of them a random other card. Looks like he is going for toucan.
On resolution.
Now he's going to trigger Fenrir to banish the map.
Yep, choosing to ignore the monster on the field.
I immediately normal summon.
Alright, so do I not have to get to result?
The normal summon is part of the effect of resolving.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I'm turn player, so it'd be chain link 1.
Okay, so this at least dodges the effect of the Fenrir.
I'm going to negate that.
They're going to negate and destroy the Eaglin with the red.
And destroy it, and then just chain link 3. Maybe can I do that?
Yes.
No, I
You have
can't.
to directly link to it, correct?
Why? It's on resolution still. Is it not?
That is an interesting question. Does it have to be directly to the resolution of the effect? Is it not like torrential tribute responding to the monster
So you
summon?
chain to that, chain link 2.
I feel like you'd be able to do it,
Chain
but
link 3.
has the advent of adventure.
It'll negate and destroy it, correct?
Yeah.
Yep, he's just choosing to use the Advent. That's his last card on the Eaglin here, able to add any monster. I believe at this point he just goes for M-Pen. He has the toucan still in his hand that he's able to use his normal summon on. Going to be able to add back that Eaglin. Or I believe that toucan is the one that adds back from banish, and Stree is the one that adds banishes from grave. So Michael is actually able to resolve his entire play here. Unless the Fenrir didn't get used and he's able to use its effect, banish one of the monsters, he's going to be able to... Oh no, but it's on resolution.
I am not using the effect.
So he's just going to normal summon Toucan, not use the effect, so now he's going to use his actual normal summon to tribute summon for Flundereeze and Impin. Impin's going to be chain link 1, and then his banished Flundereeze are going to chain link to it, so they can go back to his hand.
Attack, right?
Yep, he's going to be able to.
So yeah, he won't be able to use that Fenrir effect now since it's in attack mode.
Yeah, the way Fenrir works really working against Chris here in this turn.
Advent of Adventure.
Adding another copy of Advent here. So the hand is Rabina, Toucan, as well as Advent. Not necessarily that strong. It is just
And then I still get an extra normal summon
the
now?
Impin. No, he does not get an extra normal summon. He does not get an extra normal summon. He used the extra normal summon on the Impin because he did not use the effect of Toucan here.
Yep. Oh no, he gets the extra summon from the Impin.
Oh
Yep,
yes,
yeah.
okay, yes.
Yeah, so he has one more summon.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's the effect he meant.
Did you not start with Eaglin actually?
No. I chose Robin.
So you summon. I'm just asking for clarification. So then, how did you summon the toucan?
I just normal summoned it.
Right, because-
With
So
my
then
additional
you-
normal summon.
Right.
How-
So how did you summon Empire?
Yeah, so
This
Oh,
is my
because
regular
the
normal summon.
Eaglin was
all
negated
this was
still,
the
right?
Yeah, so it doesn't
So
get
it
the
didn't get
additional-
the summon, so the Toucan was the normal
I just
summon,
normal
so he's
summoned
not
it.
able to
It's
summon his
additional effect
Impin,
of-
right?
Oh, you're right.
yeah,
Correct,
yeah,
correct.
So this is so that you already used your extra normal summon.
Yeah, so you can't summon that
You didn't use the
Impin.
effect on this.
Shout out to the judge for catching that
Oh.
before we could.
So this is in your hand, right?
Yeah, so the Impin should go back to the hand, the Advent should go back into the deck.
And the yeah,
Yeah, this is where, because he didn't use the Toucan effect.
yes.
He could have activated the Toucan effect, add back that banished Advent Adventure to his hand. He could have not searched. So instead of searching for the Advent Adventure, he could use Toucan to add back the Advent Adventure to his banished, thanks to the shifter. And then he would have been able to tribute summon for the Impin and add a different trap card if he wanted. So definitely a huge misstep here from Michael Temez.
Yeah, I think he was really worried about triggering the Fenrir. He didn't want to give any opportunity for the Fenrir. But if he did use it this way, at resolution, the Impid would have been on the field, so Fenrir wouldn't have been able to activate anyway. So this was the misstep that Chris really needed to move on in this game.
Yeah, he did use. Yeah, I forgot that the Eaglin effect was negated. That's the craziest part. And then the Toucan just came down. Temez may be regretting his favorite card being Clifford Scout. And now we're just taking a moment just to make sure everyone knows.
I gave me 500. Michael.
Yeah,
I mean,
Chris,
it's an easy fix.
Chris taking a sigh of relief here, knowing that the Impin doesn't have to hit the field, makes his game so much easier for him. He's going to have the Fenrir. He's going to be able to go after the map on the following turn. He's going to just need to be able to keep the red, and then he's going to be able to deal with any normal summon immediately after. He should know the last card in the hand at this point. Actually, yeah, the last card in hand should just be
Robina?
Empin. No,
Or-
it's just Empin. It should just be Empin. There should not be another card, right?
No, it's the. Nick, you already put the Advent Adventure back. So it's Impin. I think he always had one other card still in his hand at the end of that, I think.
But it was just not one of those.
Because when he was still doing, there was always one that he was holding off to the side. So I definitely think he still had one card left. But yeah, it should be an easy fix here for this. But definitely a good catch before we got too far along with that. Because yeah, the Eaglin was negated, but then it got banished off the field. Kind of hard to remember. And it looked like, yeah, he was trying to resolve the Eaglin, though he didn't add, and then summoning that Toucan. But yeah, when he said no effect on the Toucan,
that
disaster.
Yeah, that was the opening that Chris was really looking for. It was really easy to mess that up because, like, just in the sequence of Floowandereeze plays, that's just had the normal operation. That's how it would feel like it would play out. Just really easy to miss those really long chains and how things interacted. I'm glad we just caught it before it got too out of hand here.
Yeah, it should be an easy fix, just putting back the cards. He added one card, summoned one monster. Should be a quick, easy fix. But are you surprised that Flundereeze made it all the way to the finals?
Not necessarily. I think Floowandereze was going to be a good pick for this event, especially if you were not trying to adapt the Darkwing Blast cards. You didn't want to pick those cards up yourself. I think Floowandereze was a good choice, really easily accessible, but also really strong at beating the Tearlaments matchup. You have access to cards like Dimensional Shifter, you have access to the Barrier Toucher Stormer, so strong going first, potentially really strong going second card. As we saw, it was really useful in this turn one here, cut off the Merly, even though it wasn't going to be a strong Tearlament turn, it was still going to have some setup with the Sulik, and it would have been really, extremely relevant in the matchup. But these kind of slip-ups, I think, will be very costly for them, but I think Floowandereze, there's a reason for it to be in the finals.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think you mentioned that it's not as powerful as the deck, so every play is important. Every mistake, you can't make a mistake. You make one little mistake, these decks are so powerful, they're going to easily be able to capitalize on that. And so even with Temez opening up with Dimension Shifter, now this maybe slight misstep from Temez, LeBlanc might be able to take the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the way he played it through the shifter also sets him up to be in the best position at the start of his turn. Because he does have the map up already on the field, but since he went into that Spright Elf to fill up his board with these level 2 monsters, he'll be able to special summon a bunch before he has to commit to his normal summon and maybe play into the map. But you do see everything resolved, everything is fixed. attacks over both the
ahead.
monsters, and now he just has the Fenrir and the Spright Red.
Stand by main.
And we draw a Merly.
It's a good draw.
Is
Yep.
good you said?
Yep.
Oh, that's right. I actually did know the last card. There was a trap in Michael's hand. It is Dreaming Town.
But with no monsters in hand?
It's an Empen in hand.
Oh, okay, so that's nothing, because the Dreaming Town has to summon a level 4 or lower. So when he attacks, the Fenrir effect will trigger to banish a card on the field. He goes after the map.
65.
And then he's
What?
able to use
60
the red to
is
attack
right.
over the
And then
toucan.
attack for 700.
Really lucky for Chris that even though his Sprite monsters are weenies,
67, and
the
then you're
Floowandereze are even
59.
smaller weenies.
59, sure.
It's kind of like a running trend. A lot of
Yep.
small cards that turn into bigger cards.
effect.
So main phase
Sure.
2, normal summon Tearlaments Merrily. He's going to mill 3 on summon.
This guy already getting out of hand.
Hovness. And 2 copies of Triple Tactics Talent. But Hovness is just enough.
I think he's happy to just see one name, and this is going to just take him as far as he needs to. He wants to be able to go, summon the Kick Close, generate advantage off of it, generate some more cards onto the field, and then eventually summon Spright Elf so that the red just has targets.
Yep.
Yep, now Kick Talos effect is going to activate.
I assume you're just going to search Rhino Heart here. You're going to use its effect, especially summon the
Yes.
Rhino Heart from hand. Use Chain Link 1 Rhino Heart, Chain Link 2 Kick Close, see the top 5 cards of your deck, and then play accordingly.
Havness and Merly, yes. And I've only used Havness so far.
Maybe set up a Dragos Tapelia as well if you really want to just make sure you counter everything. But I also think it's in his best interest to set up some form of spell and trap negation. Maybe he
Effect?
find access to a Tearlament Crime if it's in his deck at this point. Or find a way
1-2.
to that Sprite Carrot.
Definitely.
There's a
lot of
Sheer.
options.
Havness is already used. Another Beaver. And Grief. Grief is able to actually add back that Banished Sullic.
For the first time in the tournament, we're seeing Thomas Grief be able to hear the crowd be like, it's actually triggering. We were talking about it with Joe. I don't know if it was you or Joe, but how do you banish the Tearlament trap? Your opponent does it for you. That's how.
Okay, may I can see the game?
Okay, so go ahead and pause it, and let them know. We just have to let the
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you're good.
So he has one Tearlament effect here. He's able to use the other Tearlament effect. But it looks like Michael Tamiz is just going to concede the game. Chris is up 1 game in the finals. He only has to win 1 more before he's a 4-time champion.
1 game away from making Yu-Gi-Oh history. Chris LeBlanc wins game 1.
So we'll see if game 2 Chris can come out ahead or if Michael is not ready to call it quits and he's able to take it back.
Yeah, we just saw last week at YCS Utrecht, Joshua Schmidt had perfect information, and he won YCS Utrecht last weekend and got his 3rd win. But will Chris be able to one-up him and try to go for 4? But we see that duality revealing, is that a Harpy's Featherstorm? And
I think he might take the Trap Trick for the Featherstorm, actually. Or did you cut out the middleman, just take the Featherstorm outright?
Right, no, but it does look like he's going for Trap Trick. No, but maybe second-guessing himself.
I'm trying to wonder, why would that ever happen?
Because if you have to use the Featherstorm first, which would be Trap Trick in this case, you wouldn't be able to use Dreaming Town later on in the turn. So just having the Featherstorm doesn't lock you out of using the other traps.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Why would you ever take Trap Trick?
Oh, yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah, exactly. I'm agreeing with you, yeah.
Oh!
You set 3 pass, you hear the crowd erupt.
Does not have one of the monsters. That's one of the ways. You can find a way to Featherstorm, certainly, but you have to have a way to Rabina first.
With no Flundereeze, I'll tell you this, they don't do much without having any monsters on the board. Terraforming coming down here for Chris LeBlanc.
We know there's not going to be a shifter either because Duality's already used the cards in the graveyard. That takes away all the major things that Chris is going to be scared of. He's scared of the Barrier Statue. He's scared of Featherstorm. He's scared of Dimension Shifter. None of those are going to be a hard in this turn. And he gets
I don't even know what Temes could have set that would do anything.
Sharon's fine.
It would have to be, like, if it's Dreaming Town, why would he not normal? It would have to be Dreaming Town to a Flundereeze that does nothing and then Featherstorm him.
Yep.
It could be copies of Infinite Impermanence, maybe a Pointer of the Red Lotus if he wants to try to go after a card in hand right now. But it doesn't look like that's going to happen.
Smashers and
Oh, he hits Scream. Scream's at least useful here. Losing the Smashers is a bit annoying, but I think he's not all that upset. Going to add Sullic is going to be able to make things really difficult for Michael on the following turn. And now he's able to use Tearlament's Grief.
Special summons 1 for my deck.
Oh, and then you send one to the right. Yeah, you're good.
Not a card we've seen a lot of people use this weekend, but in Chris LeBlanc's deck, so he's going to be able to
send
special
Rhino,
summon
then you
Rhino
can send
Hearts
Rhino.
and then send Rhino. It's kind of like a Foolish Burial.
Yeah, and he's going to be able to use that Sullic that got off
Yeah,
Scream.
somebody
That's
Chain
my
Link,
favorite
1-2.
combo is Rhino Heart, discard Sullic. You get to bring it back. You're going to be able to send a Tearlaments monster with Rhino Heart's effect. The
only send me
Sullic's
one,
going to
right?
add a Tearlaments monster from your deck to your hand.
Probably just Merly at this
Yeah,
point,
keep
so
going.
you can have access to your level 2 monsters. You haven't normal summoned yet, and that's probably the best use. Havness, I don't think is what you need. You don't want this to go to our next turn.
Yeah.
You want to end the game right now.
He smells it. He knows that he's so close to winning his 4th championship.
You're good. You can search first.
I want to make sure I didn't like.
Yeah.
You're good,
Chris,
dog.
you know,
Don't
maybe a
worry.
little bit getting overexcited here.
You
It's
are
very
goofy.
easy. He sees the goal. He's just trying to make sure he plays properly now. He needs to take the time to breathe. You can hear him breathing.
And I have used 0, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Can I just ask
Yep,
a question?
slowing down a little bit.
Send, to the graveyard off the
I'm sorry.
Wait,
I sent Reinhardt.
Oh,
then Reinhardt,
okay,
yeah.
got it.
Yeah, then he discarded the whatever. Yeah.
So effect.
Just clarifying what happened previously in that instance. Grief was used to special summon the Reinhardt, immediately sending the Reinhardt to graveyard to resolve the Grief's Reinhardt's effect in graveyard, discarding the Sulik, triggering in the following
go
chain,
Chainlink 1,
Reinhardt
Chainlink
Chainlink
2,
1,
pop this.
Sulik Chainlink 2.
Channeling 3.
Going to be able to use the field spell to go after the set card. It's going to actually be met with infinite permanence.
And going to destroy a Feather Storm that he couldn't activate since he doesn't have that Winged Beast on the field. Nope, summon Nimble Beaver.
What if I told you, Billy, that there is well over 6,000 damage already on the field because of the boost of the
Yep.
field spell?
Yeah, there is. There's so much damage. We could be moments away from... It looks like Temez is almost ready to offer the handshake.
Yeah, he's holding the hand out. Oh, yeah, there he goes for Trap Trick.
What is he going to grab?
Another copy of Infinite
I was
Impermanence.
like, it has to be Emperor, right? Yeah, I see Chris is kind of like, oh no, you can't grab any trap. Do you have anything crazy in there I haven't thought about? Let's see if he has
all I
anything
got, dog.
insane. It's going, yeah, it's just Infinite Impermanence.
Or he's banished, sorry.
Yeah, banish an infinite trap trick lets you banish a trap
28,
from your deck to
23,
set that trap, and then
Yeah,
after you activate, you can only activate that one trap. That's turn.
Battle phase, and that's game!
Chris LeBlanc is a 4-time YCS champion and the winner here of YCS Minneapolis, Minnesota. Congratulations to Christopher.